The end of the first day session, all day session at the 10th Regulators and Policymakers Retreat being held by IPPI and Aviation Watch. And with me is Mr. Arif Alauddin from Pakistan. He is the head of the Alternative Energy Development Board of Pakistan. Welcome to the show, Mr. Alauddin.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Alauddin, we'd like to know what exactly is Pakistan doing to incentivize the generation of alternative energy in terms of incentives to generation, and B, in terms of incentives to provide open access to that generated power and distribute it throughout Pakistan.
Okay. I think Pakistan at this point is probably offering one of the best incentives anywhere in the world. If you take, for example, the wind, no other country in the world in this sector is giving the wind risk. So Pakistan is the only country which is giving the wind risk, which implies in some ways, not exactly, but in many ways, that it is giving you the capacity charge for having installed the wind turbines. It is giving you one of the best tariffs again. The last tariff that we have given to a Turkish company is 12.1 cents. Also, we give you on a cost plus. If your cost is much higher, then your tariffs can actually go up. And we are also offering you a counter guarantee so that your lenders can reduce their cost of capitals to you.
Great. So doesn't this sound all too good for project developers all across the world, that you have the perfect situation here, all risks taken care of, a fair amount of price cost plus. So what is the catch that is something that international investors are actually looking at?
Actually, Pakistan started late. Pakistan has a few drawbacks, which we are very quickly coming up and catching up on that. Pakistan does not have a local manufacturing capacities. Pakistan does have some manpower training limitations, which we are working on. And now, with the first few wind farms coming up, we feel that we will bridge that gap as well.
Right. So in Pakistan, are you having the same problems that India is facing? For example, wind patterns are changing. There is climate change. There are wind patterns that are changing, and there could be these projects that may not see even the light of the day, and Pakistani government could go at a loss because they've promised capacity charge.
In fact, most of our wind producers or wind investors are choosing not to take the wind risk because they're so comfortable with the wind regime that is available there. What happens with the wind risk is that we guarantee them a certain amount of wind, and they actually calculate the tariff on the basis of the wind that we guarantee. Anything over and above that, we take 90% of that free, and they get paid for the 10% of the balance. So in many ways, they would rather not take the wind risk and get reimbursed for the or sell all the electricity that they are producing.
Right. So in terms of financing, because that is the major problem now in this current economic meltdown, what sort of innovating financing schemes that have you evolved in Pakistan? For example, project finance or off the balance sheet financing, or any other scheme that you have come up with?
Pakistan has been slightly unfortunate because the perceptions that a lot of people have about Pakistan risks at this point, be it because of our neighbors in the West, be it because of the 9/11 or the fallouts of 9/11. But nevertheless, we are trying to cover as much as we can. If you have a country risk situation, which some banks think Pakistan does have, and they have raised the cost of capital, we have a counter guarantee program that the Asian Development Bank is working with us on. We will be giving counter guarantee through the Asian Development Bank, so that risk is covered. Of course, there is the limitations of how much Pakistani banks can finance. So we're looking at foreign banks to come up with the loan element for the local investors.
So in the medium to long term perspective, given the fact that you will now be getting gas from Iran, and you'll be getting gas later on from other places that Pakistan is currently negotiating and looking out for, do you think it's possible that alternative energy may not work out to be a very viable scheme in the medium to long term? Because once gas is there and you've got a fair amount of pipelines, you've got a huge amount of pipelines in fact, then maybe people will want to wait and watch and see if they can go to gas-based generation rather than wait for...
Well, gas-based generation is a preferred option of the thermal units. But there are a lot of realities and a lot of myths. Pakistan, for our consumption, only 23% of the Pakistan nation has access to piped gas. So we need gas even for our domestic uses. We at this point sometimes have load shedding from the industrial areas for the gas. So we need gas for the industry as well. So most of the gas that is going to come in actually will not necessarily be for power generation alone. Parts of it probably will go to the power generation. But what we feel is that our least cost options are going to be our renewable energy, be it hydro, be it waste to energy, and be it wind.
In terms of hydro, Pakistan has a very well developed river system. We've already got a whole lot of dams across the Indus system. What else would you be looking at? Would you be looking at mini hydel in a very big way, and how are you incentivizing that?
No, we have, well, mini hydro is absolutely essential, especially in the north of Pakistan, areas where our grids cannot access, areas which are dependent upon the local resources of energy, be it parts of northern areas, be it parts of NWFP, be it, so mini or micro is in that area, but small, from 2 megawatts to 50 megawatts, we are looking at throughout the country.
So, both India and Pakistan and other countries in this region face one common problem, that deprived populations that are deprived of education or being mainstreamed into the economy of the country, they turn restive and take on to things like terrorism or dacoity or whatever. So how does the role of energy infrastructure development, what sort of role can that play, and what kind of role can you play to incentivize that thing in Pakistan?
At least what we are doing, at least in the Alternate Energy Development Board, we have of course large multinational investors which are looking at huge projects. We don't have a major role with them because they provide electricity to the grid. But other than that, where we bring in our subsidy, where we're supporting micro or small hydros, we are insisting on productive uses of these energy rather than consumptive uses of energy. Productive uses will do two things. Number one, increase their production and their income and their lifestyle. Two, will provide for sustainability of these systems, which if it's only consumptive and they're not able to pay for it, they will soon end up without a system.
So in Pakistan, as in India, do you have a problem wherein firms that are into alternative energy, when they want to turn the infirm power into firm power, they're denied open access or they're denied the convenience of doing so?
Our problems at this point are not that. We do not have a very large renewable energy sector at this point, although we feel in a very short while this will be one of the most prospering sector. At the time of load shedding, when the grids are not available, these problems will arise and this will happen. We have some applications where they have not been able to supply it to the grid only because the grid was not available, but we are looking into it to resolve it.
But banking of power is freely allowed and is encouraged?
It is part of the policy approved by the federal cabinet.
Excellent, sir. Finally, in solar, what is the Pakistani story in solar, and how are you incentivizing that area?
We don't have a PV or a thermal plant at this point. There are two projects where the government of Pakistan is going to take up themselves, hopefully, as depending upon how we position ourselves in financing, etc. But they are under approvals at this point. We are going to provide special incentives for water pumping, special incentives for solar water heating, and special incentives for solar home village electrification.
Finally, sir, what do you think of this initiative, that is the 10th such initiative by IPPAI?
I have actually been following it right from the first initiative, although it's only the second time I'm attending it, and it is growing and it is taking the directions as things happen and as things change. I'm very impressed with it.